Hello and welcome to another edition of Discover Mercer County Business. I'm your host, Rod Wilt, and I'm the Executive Director of Penn-Northwest Development Corporation, and we are Mercer County, Pennsylvania's certified economic development organization. Our motto is, make it in Mercer County, and our role is to create low-cost financing solutions for recruiting, retaining, and growing jobs and business opportunities in every corner of our county. The sole purpose of this program is to showcase people and organizations that are making things happen here. We interview them to find out why they have chosen Mercer County, Pennsylvania as a great place to live, work, and play. We are producing this show in conjunction with Teal College students, faculty, and staff, and we're coming to you from the state-of-the-art TV and radio studios in the James Pettis Communications Center on Teal's campus in Greenville. If you would like to connect with our improvement movement team to see how you can make it in Mercer County, please visit our website at penn-northwest.com or give us a call at 724-662-3705. We're happy to be joined today by Stephen Kelleher from Kismet. Stephen, welcome to the program. I'm just going to warn our viewers, when you and I get together, there's a lot of laughs, and when they asked us how much time we wanted this first segment, you said, hey, we'll break for dinner.
Right.
It's probably wrong. It's probably not wrong at all. But Kismet, professional employer organization.
Yep.
Tell us what that means.
Okay, thank you. And Rod, thank you so much for, it's a real honor to do this with you. I'm a big fan of this segment. I watch it all the time, and all of our business leaders, and I cheer them on.
So you're that one guy that watches
I'm that one
it.
guy that's always
I like
loving
it.
them and liking them and lighting
like
them
it.
up.
I like it.
And I'm a big Rod Wilt fan,
I
as you know. We
appreciate
do have a
that.
great
Thank you.
relationship.
Yes,
and
indeed.
we could get in a lot of trouble, so we'll try to keep it, we know that.
At least on camera.
At least on camera, yeah. So PEO, it's the funniest thing because this is not a new concept at all, right? The PEO industry, and PEO does stand for, and thank you for having it correct, Professional Employer Organization, and I'll get into what that is in a minute. But let's talk about the industry and kind of, I think it's interesting for the purpose of this segment and for what you do, to illustrate that we're bringing a very tried and true concept that's been around probably since the early to mid 80s in the southern states, Florida, Texas, into this region and throughout the United States. There's really a movement through the National Association of PEOs, the organization we belong to move the model and the concept throughout the nation and not have it be, remain seated in the southern states. Now, PEO and Professional Employer Organization, there's a lot of moving parts, and the sales conversations can be very deep and very long, and we're examining lots of things. But to make it kind of neat and tidy, I'll illustrate it this way. Okay, it's, an individual, it's 4 a.m., and they're awoken with an epiphany for the world's greatest, best mousetrap, or a service that the world can't live without, right? They're wildly passionate about that creative epiphany and that idea, and they want to get it to market as quickly as possible, right? So they rush headlong into business, hang their shingle, off they go. They wake up or kind of tune into the fact maybe 7 or 8 months down the road, whoa, I've got 3 people working for me now. What they're not, generally, are experts in the areas of operating a business, right? So they've got to go out in order to house and properly care for those employees, I guess legally from a compliance standpoint, but also from a goodwill standpoint, and also from a business structure standpoint. They're going to need to immediately start acquiring all sorts of products and services. And this can add up to be a multitude of vendors, right?
And that's how you and I met. So taking over 3 or 4 employees at Penn-Northwest and wanting to be in the creative phase and working for our members and working for our community and wanting to step away from the day-to-day in and out of onboarding employees, making sure we're doing that properly, all the compliance things with state and federal laws, setting up all the payrolls with benefits, and other features.
Employee handbook, answering HR questions,
You've
labor law posters, right?
You've done all that for us.
Yeah, so this new vendor, this 4 o'clock in the morning person that wakes up 7 months later saying, whoa, right, they're required. They've got to go get work comp. They've got to get some type of, depending on their setup, their scenario, property and casualty coverage for their building, for their automobiles, general liability, professional liability, at some point to attract talent and grow the business, employee benefits, 401k, payroll provider, on and on and on. Oh, we need a handbook. We don't have an HR person, so we'll pay a consultant or a lawyer. So the vendors start stacking up. You get into 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 6, 7, 8, 9 vendors, which means 6, 7, 8, 9 salespeople, which means 9 sets of meetings, 9 sets of negotiations, 9 sets of renewals to track. Oh, and these sales representatives have moved on. Here's your new rep. Meet them and go right.
Right.
So that takes up, as a business owner, all they're passionate about is version 2.0, right? Or the next evolution of that service, right? All they want to do is focus on what they do well, which is their product or service.
And that was our
right.
That was our approach. 20 years ago, when I was a member of the State House of Representatives, I worked with your professional organization, NAPEO, on some legislation in Pennsylvania to make the professional employer organization more a part of the marketplace here in Pennsylvania. And part of the issue was the pooling of employees across many different companies and many different types of companies in order to get best pricing on some of these benefits that you offer. So where does that sit today, Stephen? How far have we come in the last 20 years?
Far, very, very far.
Okay,
and it's getting further every day. I mean, the PEO model is becoming, and I don't want to, I use this word, but I want to preface it with, don't take it the wrong way, but legitimizing, right? It's a co-employment model is what we form.
So what that means is I can bring the employees on, I can manage them day to day, I can evaluate them. They're still our employees for the purposes of running the business.
Yes.
But they're your employees for the purposes of what?
So what we're doing is we're forming a partnership where we're taking that existing employee pool that you still own, right? Direction, supervision, control, hiring, firing, compensation decisions, strategy, everything that you've always been doing, you're always going to do, right? The co-employment relationship enables us to provide proprietary benefits to those employees from an employee to employee perspective, because we're simply just processing your payroll under our FEIN. That's it. We're paying all your taxes, all the quarterlies, the 940s, the 941s, the municipal, the local taxes.
So I don't have to do that anymore.
You don't have to do any of that. Direct deposit. We have a wonderful system. We set all your employees up in it. We keep their employee files compliant, which is a hot button in the labor law world. And when we form the co-employment relationship, they're still your employees, but they're ours from the perspective of we are providing labor law compliance, guidance, human resources guidance, suggestions for how to do what you need to do within the compliant best practices of HR.
So on that, I'm looking to maybe hire someone, but not necessarily in a job classification that I already have. Maybe it's a new part of the business. And this is actually what we're doing at Penn-Northwest. So we consult with you and you help us craft that job description, maybe do some salary survey and actually help us recruit and onboard that person, correct?
Absolutely, because another core component of what KismetPEO brings to the table as a very unique thing. A lot of PEOs are touting, assistance with hiring, recruiting. It's such a hot button because of the great resignation and the remote pressures that have been put on.
Oh, we're calling that the great reevaluation now. I learned that about 4 hours ago. So we're going to change our vernacular.
Yes, I think the vernacular is long in need of overhaul in a few different areas.
Right.
The world has changed for sure. But KismetPEO, inside our organization, we actually have a professional staffing group that I kind of assembled. I come from the professional staffing world. So I assembled a team of recruiters that do direct placement staffing services. And what that means is we work with you on the actual job description and the requirement to formulate it and make sure that it meets and fits everything that you're looking for. And from there, we go sourcing and we go find the candidates and we pre-screen and we do all of that. We actually get very involved in the recruiting. And the goal is to provide you with 3 to 5 very solid candidates in the first round for you to evaluate whether you're interested in proceeding in an interview and getting them into your hiring process and moving them through. And we do all that heavy lifting on the front end. We use some assessment tools as we do that. And then we handle all of the pre-employment screenings that you may want or require. All of it's included in one price and is taken care of. And so we actually do the recruiting function for you and just set it all up so you're reviewing qualifications, resumes, candidates, and making a hire.
One of the other things that you helped us with that I thought was a tremendous resource because I really had never experienced it before, but you actually sat down with me and every person on our team that we were onboarding into the Kismet program, and almost evaluated us on a personality basis to see how we can best work together. I thought
Yeah.
that was a fascinating tool.
It was a cool way to start our relationship. That was at
Yeah.
the beginning of our relationship, and you were very curious because you had taken part in that as a candidate when you were coming to the table. Kismet
Right.
assisted with that a little bit, just administratively. We weren't involved with Penn-Northwest at the time, but they needed an experienced recruiting group to help manage the process because what were there, 40 candidates or something at the outset, and we helped to funnel that down and did a lot of the administrative work. And part of that was, we do use an assessment profile that makes a determination of behavioral drives. And we thought it would be a really interesting exercise to take those measurements on your existing team to see where the commonalities were and where the gaps were, to give you suggestions on how you could build bridges in some cases or accentuate positives in others, and really to get your group cohesively operating as a team. Not that it wouldn't have anyway, it would have certainly, but it just gave you some real clues in the roadmap on how to address certain people, how to approach certain people, how to manage certain people. And I think it was a valuable exercise. I'm glad you got value out of it.
Yeah, I did, because as a new person coming into that environment where we had some established folks that had been in their jobs for a little while, and we had some that were new, and then we had some that were brand new. For me, it was a great tool, led by you and your team, for us to really get to know each other on a professional level. I mean, the personal stuff's going to happen organically as you show up and go to work every day.
Right.
But that tool I just found was extraordinarily amazing, and one that I keep in each one of everyone's file, because from time to time things come up and you kind of look through and you're looking for some things and you find that piece of paper and say, oh, I remember going through this exercise when they told me, hey, this is how this person's wired. And
when they showed me how weird I am.
Yeah, well, I that's when I look at my own file, man. That's when I look at my own file. The name Kismet, what's it mean? And then we're going to take a little break, show a little video on Penn-Northwest, and we're going to come back and talk about how Kismet came out of the ground in Mercer County. But the word Kismet, how did you pick that?
I just love the fact that you brought that up. And because we're going to be going to commercial, I'm going to tell you what it means. And then I'm going to commit when we come back to from commercial, I will explain to you really how applicable the name truly is when I tell you the evolution story and how we became Kismet. But the name, I don't remember the actual origin, and I don't want to make a mistake, but it means simply fate written in the stars.
No way.
Yes. And so we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
We will talk about it in a few minutes. Right now, we're going to take a little break. We're going to show you a short video on Penn-Northwest Development Corporation and the impact that we're making in Mercer County, Pennsylvania. And we'll be right back to continue our conversation with Stephen from Kismet.
Is your company looking to expand and grow? Then Mercer County, Pennsylvania is the right place for you. Whether your company is involved in manufacturing, technology, logistics, health, or business services, shale gas exploration, or retail, we can help. Mercer County, Pennsylvania offers low-cost land, valuable infrastructure, a quality labor force, and the right financial tools to make your corporate expansion an affordable reality. Mercer County is only a day's drive to major markets including Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Buffalo, New York City, Chicago, and even southern Canada. Companies like GE Transportation, Joy Cone Company choose to make it in Mercer County, and Penn-Northwest wants to show you how your company can also make it in Mercer County too. Our team of experts will help you expand and save dollars. How does Penn-Northwest do it? How does Penn-Northwest save companies so much money? With a combination of low-interest loans, grants and credits, tax abatements, and even tax-free property. Here's the best part. Penn-Northwest will do most of the work for you. Just click on the button below and get the process started. Or you can first get an idea of how your organization can make it in Mercer County by using the savings estimator located at makeitinmercercounty.com. You'll see that expanding your business in Mercer County, Pennsylvania is the move that makes the most dollars and cents. Call Penn-Northwest Development Corporation at 724-662-3705 for more information.
Thank you for watching this edition of Discover Mercer County Business. We are back today with Stephen Kelleher from KismetPEO. Stephen, we said before the break you were going to talk about how Kismet came into being here in Mercer County.
And it's a beautiful story, and it varies in length depending on who's telling it. I tend to tell this graphic Disney-rated one with fireworks and lightsabers and.
Well, we're going to talk about a mutual friend of ours, so this is always exciting to hear.
Yes, we are. And I'll just put it on the table now. You're very, very well aware of my business partner, Lou Kachulis, a Mercer County fixture in terms of the things that he's done over the years, including his involvement personally with Penn-Northwest and his family's involvement with Penn-Northwest. Lou is a tremendously visionary individual that is motivated purely and moved purely by need and by his ability to serve and serve others. As you know, Lou has been he's the 7th president of Gilbert's Risk Solutions, which is certainly an institution in downtown Sharon, in the beautiful building right by the river. When Lou took over Gilbert's, not long after Lou became the president of Gilbert's, he noticed a trend, a very negative trend in work comp. And that trend was related to very, very high frequency of work comp claims, severity of work comp claims, and this really affected him. And he started a number of enterprises to really address the needs of the customer through the voice of the customer and what he was seeing. And to make it kind of concise, Lou discovered some safety issues which were pushing up comp claims, and he addressed it by formulating a company called SOS Safety Solutions, where he could assign safety managers in these accounts to work with them one-on-one to develop and manage safety programs to impact the experience modification factor of their work comp and get them into a more appealing state, but even more importantly, to keep people safer and bring claims down, which brings costs down.
So SOS would go in, put some programs in place, evaluate the physical workspace, try and make changes to make it safer for the workers, and the payoff was reduce work comp claims, loss of time off, and fascinating.
Lou then took a look at claims and knew that there were opportunities to reduce claims processing costs, particularly with some of his self-insured clients at the time, and he adopted a transitional return to work model. He customized the approach of adjuster and caseload and kept it very, very manageable, developing relationships with these clients. So it wasn't a call center type environment, brought claims costs down by 61% and said, and continued to look at it. Now keep in mind, he's got Gilbert's that he's running. He started the new company SOS that he's now building and running. He started Synergy Claims Management Company, which exists as Synergy Claims Management Company today. And he's managing and building that. And he kind of looked around, and this was not far before the Great Recession of 2008. He said, look, a lot of these industrial companies up in this area that are struggling with work comp choices don't have many choices. Getting them in better shape with their experience modification factor and lowering their claims is great, but they don't have a lot of choices on where they can go. Let's start an insurance carrier. And a lot of people said, whoa. I mean,
that's a heavy lift.
It's a heavy lift.
Especially in a highly regulated labor environment like Pennsylvania. So
and what always touched me about that when he decided to launch Synergy Comp, which is now Synergy Comp, is that between family, friends, and this is what's touching, a handful of clients coming to the table to put together that first round of capital always touched me. That kind of confidence in someone.
That's called a relationship equity raise.
It really
that's
is.
Exactly what he did.
Yeah, and so in 2006 they did launch Synergy Comp. So the reason that I'm telling this story is that Lou wasn't content just providing solid coverage, whether it's personal lines, home and auto, through the property and casualty lines or employee benefits or work comp or whatever it may be. He wasn't satisfied with, hey, Gilbert's can handle your coverage and with an excellent service team take really, really great care of you. He was finding other opportunities to affect people's lives in a positive way, which was very meaningful. So it was, Gilbert's and then SOS, then the claims company, Synergy Claims Management, then Synergy Comp. Well, if you've seen our building, it's very well laid out. These 4 companies and KismetPEO all work at 30 East State Street in our Gothic 1930s architecture.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful building with the tower, and we're all there, and we're all there working together. And honestly, KismetPEO came about as an evolutionary process of what more can we provide. And when we decided to get into the HR world, turning it into a full-fledged PEO, because we do bring all of those services back to our earlier conversation about the better mousetrap and the entrepreneur. They're going to go shopping with all those vendors to get these things. They can come and partner with Kismet, and we bring all of it from one location, one team of experts to solve these problems and give you back your time to focus on the growth and development of your business. So Lou's story is fascinating, and and it's really been a strong need to serve and a desire to serve and a desire to make wrongs right and correct problems and take good care of people. So it was, Gilbert's and SOS and Synergy Claims Management, Synergy Comp. Kismet's kind of the cherry on the icing on the cake, and we are on the top floor of the building, and that's how we came to be.
So through all that, how did you connect with Gilbert's and Synergy and Lou?
Yeah, I when I tell this story, I call it the Lou Kachulis, whitewater raft ride, because he never stops. I mean, and a beautiful thing about Lou is that he tends to, when he gets involved with an individual, he really, really looks to maximize what that individual brings to the table and how they can affect the businesses that he operates. So I was actually involved with, Kismet and Synergy Comp and Gilbert's. I've worked simultaneously at all three and through all three for different reasons for him.
But you started as a consultant, right?
I started as a consultant. Synergy Comp was experiencing incredible growth, like around the end of 2017. I got a call from Eric Brown. Eric and I, who is Lou's CFO at 30 East State Street, Eric and I go way back. We had a business together back in the year 2000. Eric knew what my capabilities were in terms of hiring and recruiting and sales. And he knew that firsthand because we were business partners. And since then, our paths had diverged. He came back to Sharon, I think, back in 2006. And we started our business in the year 2000. I'm sorry, he left in 2003. I left in 2006. But at any rate, and unbeknownst to me, Lou came back to Sharon to work with Lou at Gilbert's at the time.
Yeah,
Synergy
Eric
didn't exist then.
Yeah.
I got a call from Eric Brown saying, I'm with this company up in Sharon, PA. We're a monoline work comp carrier. Stephen, we're blowing up. We've got 9 openings. One of them's been open for 18 months. At the time, I was a recruiting consultant. I had started my own business called Hire Priorities, HIRE Priorities.
Very catchy name.
And I had just started it. And I had a few clients that I was working with them when Eric called, and I hadn't seen him for 15 years. I drove up, got together with them, put my proposal in, ended up going to work with their organization to help examine their hiring process from the door, meaning when the resumes and the candidates arrived through hire. And I noticed that really the real struggle was what was happening before the door wasn't happening the way it needed to happen, which there needed to be a proactive outbound recruiting approach put into place to literally go get the people that you need, not post and pray and hope.
Not just wait.
Yeah, you don't post and pray and hope that the right person sees your ad. Right. And so long story short, I did 3 months with them as a consultant. At the end of the engagement, I put my executive summary together. One of my recommendations was get a talent acquisition, a director of talent acquisition, someone to build recruiting as a core competence, because you own these 4 companies and they all have resource requirements. You need to make recruiting a core competency at 30 East State Street, get really good at it internally to feed the growth of these companies. And I said, listen, I said to Lou, and we laugh about this story all the time. I said, look, truth be told, I'm that guy, but if I'm not, and I'm like joking. I said, I'll get you. I'll bring you the person.
Yeah.
Lou smiled and he said, no, we think you're the guy too. And so we put it together. And I started with him at Synergy Comp as his director of talent acquisition and development. Quickly, I moved into managing sales for the agency for Gilbert's. I got licensed in life, accident, and health, and property and casualty, and did all that. Managed the sales team, and then the idea for Kismet came along, and we formed that 2019.
And here we are. You've been and you've become a very highly visible figure around Mercer County. So you've obviously fallen in love with, even though you're not from here, from Allegheny County, but talk about your experience and what you've seen since you've become involved and engaged in the Mercer County community.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because the funny thing is, I've adopted Sharon as my hometown. I mentioned earlier, maybe before or after we got on camera, born in McKeesport, Irish kid from the east side of Pittsburgh, McKeesport, and it's not McKeesport has had its struggles, continues to, and I hope it, finds a way to rebound and rebuild, and, and then I grew up in a small farm town in Washington County called Claysville. It's a tiny little town on Route 40.
Yeah,
and that's what I went from the city and I became a country guy, and looking for a farm is what brought me to the area. And then working in Sharon, I have fallen in love with this community and this community's collective heartbeat, and the mission and the sense of community and pride is so strong. And there's a lot to be proud of. I mean, the work ethic in Mercer County, and particularly in the Sharon area where I spend most of my time, is phenomenal. And I just love everything about it. And I tell people all the time, nah, Sharon's my new hometown. And that's true. And I love it.
Well, when I'm out and about in the county, I say one of the things that attracted me to Penn-Northwest in taking on this role is that as I looked around, that I really felt we had the right people in the right seats at the right time right now to go fast.
I love that.
And, you know, I think those of us that have been around a little while and we're now in our 40s, 50s, we've kind of said enough is enough. We don't really care who gets credit. Let's just bring the community and the county forward in whatever way we can. And Stephen, I just want to personally thank you for your commitment to that mission from the day we met. You've been all in for everybody that's asked of your time, not just what you do professionally, but personally. And you've really become an active cheerleader, not just in the community, but on social media and anywhere you can find. And we hope this program's just another opportunity to just talk about and introduce folks to you.
Thank you.
Because I think what you do with Kismet and what you're doing in the community with Lou's leadership and the great team you've built around you is really making an important impact in bringing this community back and this county back. That's what we're all about here at Penn-Northwest, and that's going to be our mission till we fulfill it. So we've got to fix this population loss, and we need to work with partners in education to do that. We need to work in the construction industry and get more houses built. We got to shore up all of our businesses coming out of COVID. We've got to increase our recreational activities for our young people, and with the commitment that you guys have professionally, but also to the community, I don't think there's one important cause going on in Mercer County that you and Lou and all of your companies aren't involved in, and that's what it's going to take all of us.
Absolutely.
All of us, for sure.
Absolutely.
I really want to thank you for the time. We could keep on going, but we're going to wrap it up, and we want to thank our viewers for watching this edition of Discover Mercer County Business. We want to thank you, Stephen, and Kismet and your team for making it in Mercer County. It's what we're all about. We're producing this show in the state-of-the-art TV and radio studios at the James Pettis Communications Center on Teal College's campus in Greenville. We want to thank all the students, faculty, and staff who have helped bring this show to life. If you have an idea for a future edition of Discover Mercer County Business, please connect with our Improvement Movement team on our website at penn-northwest.com or give us a call at 724-662-3705. And remember, you can also find out more about Penn-Northwest Development Corporation by searching for us on YouTube or connecting with us on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. We hope you enjoyed this edition of Discover Mercer County Business. We'll see you again next time.